In other words, it's just a question of what you do in the first 10 years and what you do in the next 10 years.
Okay, so the sky's the limit really with IDE.
What do they do? What do you use for fertilizer? Do you use manure?
No, fertilizer.
So this is his first crop?
你今年已经种了一件了吧？种了一季。
International Development Enterprises, IDE, treats poor people as customers instead of as recipients of charity.
And so you have 1 acre of irrigated. And you irrigate that through the whole dry season?
Appropriate technology to me means finding the cheapest and simplest tool to do the job. That tool needs to be able to pay for itself within a year, and it needs to be able to sustain itself within the local culture.
For the past 10 years, Dr. Polak and his small economic development organization, IDE, have specialized in appropriate technology projects in third world countries. Their low-tech solutions to economic problems include implementing donkey carts in Somalia and developing a manual irrigation system in Bangladesh.
Do all of you use drip irrigation? Can you give us everyone who uses drip irrigation, can I see?
I'm going to talk to you today about the approach I learned from them to practical...
He said 8 acres, that means 1.5 acres.
Oh, 8 acres. I thought he said 5.
I think I've been relatively childish all my life. And the thing that they kept saying about me is that I have this impish quality. About 50 years ago, I sat in the audience just like those of you who are about to graduate today. I was a little bit proud, a little bit scared, and a little bit hungover. I got called on the carpet again because I got very interested in hypnosis. And working with a staff member, I delivered the first baby in London under hypnosis. But in those days, hypnosis was not considered to be a very good way to go, and so Dr. Collop called me into his office, and you know that joke about the mule, and the guy says, that's one. Of course, I knew that it was 2, but I didn't. What does that mean in terms of energy requirements at the village? Do you know what it takes to charge your cell phone?
Where do you come from? Where is your village?
After 25 years of working with $1 a day, 1 acre farmers, I've gotten really tired of appeals for charitable donations to help poor people. The only way poor people can move out of poverty is by investing their own time and money. But they need entrepreneurial opportunities to do that. They are natural entrepreneurs themselves. The small machines of village labor that you see in third world countries sometimes look a little silly. At other times, completely crazy. But they can have an earthy beauty full of universal life. I had the distinct advantage of knowing absolutely nothing about development except what I had tried with the shark fishing business. So Art and I and Don Hedrick, who ran a supermarket, were the 3 founders of IDE. We each put up 10 grand.
Go ahead, the thing's moving.
Simple technology used in an entrepreneurial self-supporting system are what these projects have strived for. This, then, is Dr. Polak's story about his organization's introduction of private enterprise and appropriate technology to Nepal.
Okay, Paul, what did I talk about right there?
You betcha. Geez, how'd you make it through there?
had to be up here about you, didn't it?
Pretty close. Pretty close, but the current was so strong I couldn't stand up. Son of a bitch. All right, I think we're through.
All the river's back in one place again.
I think we made it. A lot of Somalis came across the border in droves and ended up in refugee camps. Since Art was the UN High Commissioner, we visited a whole bunch of refugee camps and walked around and talked to refugees just like I'd been talking to psychiatric patients in the US. And what was very clear is that the whole economic life of the camps revolved around food distribution. So we ended up building 500 donkey carts and selling them to refugees on credit, which turned into the most successful income-generating project in Somalia right out of the chute. I remember one public meeting, this guy from the Somali government got up and, who was trained at MIT, got up and said, "Dr. Polak, how dare you bring the concept of donkey carts to us in Somalia? Do you take a donkey cart to get to work in your office in Denver, Colorado?" And he was just incensed. At the end of the 3 years, with the success of this project, they were begging us to stay. Another question is how to turn the bloody page.
5 days.
5 days is okay. But each year, is the water table going down or staying the same? Does he know? Does he make a seedling nursery before he starts, before he plants?
Yes, he told me.
Okay, so he makes a seedling nursery.
We're almost done. Could we arrange for you to come and write down all of the inputs so that we have a good record in Chinese? It sells them very low-cost tools that they can use to increase their income. Over the last 10 years, IDE and its partners have installed 1 million treadle pumps for poor farmers in Asia. So I think that the radical difference in what we've learned is to start with at the donkey cart level or at the treadle pump level. Start with the things, with the strategies and the technologies that fit small plots.